Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do the usual disclaimers, pardon me. Now, folks, I'm going to try to keep this as quick as humanly possible because I never just get to have a day off anymore. Can I just talk about how much adulting sucks for a minute? Trigger warning, I may curse. So, I've been basically going around in circles with my company's ERC team. The reason I am doing so is apparently it is going to be either that or we're going to have to talk about you not meeting your numbers. So I am essentially having to give not one but 2 days off that I have to essentially spend the majority of my time at Burrell to get my papers to give to ERC for reasonable accommodations, all in a very futile effort to maintain a job that I hate with my whole soul. I did say that full chested, didn't I? I hate sales, folks. I hate it so much. You have no idea how frustrating it is. That seems to be the only type of individuals that will hire someone like me. I've been trying to find customer service jobs, particularly ones that can be worked from home, for quite some time now. I am just so beyond exhausted emotionally, psychologically, in every which way. I don't even have a word for it. I am staring headlong down into the dark abyss of autistic burnout, and yet I'm still jumping through all of these hoops. And why do I do it? Wouldn't you just want the stress to go away? Why, yes, I do. But having been there for 3 years, there's some benefits to staying. Let's say, for one, top tier insurance. But it is beyond frustrating. So hopefully, some of the fruit of all of this is I can get back on some medication to at least help me manage the massive anxiety and the enormous amount of stress I live every day under. Let's hope, right? Okay, to the disclaimers. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The Des Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article, share on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. All right, folks, so where we left off, right? A systemic review was excellent. Blah, good God, I'm tired. A systemic review was recently completed of randomized, placebo controlled studies that measured the effect of pharmacologic treatments on reduction of aggressive behaviors and irritability, measured using the ABCI change from the baseline score in children with ASD. To put this all in layman's terms, there has been a recent review in regards to the pharmacologic treatments that are currently on the market specifically to treat aggressive behaviors and irritability. See, I can say that in a whole lot less words and it makes more sense. They need to get me writing this. Seriously. Reference 97 reports improvement on ABCI scores for numerous drugs, including risperidone, aproptosol, clonidine, methylpendate, venlafaxine, naltrexone, and valproate. Can any of you pharmaceutical companies start coming up with normal names? Like legit. Could you not come up with normal names? I'm sorry, but this is kind of my one gripe. Why does every single pill name that is known to doctors have to be almost completely unpronounceable? Just putting it out there. Drives me nuts. So, here's something that most clinical trials and reviews of pills tends to do, folks. They don't just put the drugs on the market and say, yeah, there they are, they're perfect, just the way they are. No, they are under constant scrutiny, constant room for improvement. Now, let's compare that with the GED device. The only way they have improved anything is increasing the level of pain they inflict on the people that they put in those things. Yeah. The Get device has not been under any form of scrutiny of any kind by any panel board since the early 90s when the first one was completed. And the JRC has literally skated, and this is even more mind boggling, has been allowed to skate on that without having any of the subsequent GED devices that came after it to be properly reviewed by a proper panel. You wonder why that is, right? Let me put it in layman's terms. Nobody who, cares about the fact that they could be sued into the Stone Age is going to give any approval for any device that is going to shock at levels just below the lethal limit. Even for the coldest bastard out there, they're going to want to cover for their own ass. So before you tell me how big and bad Big Pharma is, please, for the love of God, spare me. Because even the coldest, blackest heart son of a bitch that works as a pharmaceutical CEO is going to know enough that they need to make sure they cover their own ass legally. The JRC has done none of these things. And unlike with pharmaceutical drugs, they've been allowed to operate with impunity. There are no clinical boards, there are no panels, there's no nothing. Their device has gotten approval from no one. No one. And they are allowed to continue to use it and call it a treatment and have it approved by the courts. If this does not seem insane to you, I don't know what to tell you. Would you like beachfront property in Kansas? I'm selling some for a penny. It is literally that insane. Now let's continue, shall we? Reference 97 illustrates that several drugs, in addition to risperidone and aprazazole, have evidence-based support suggesting they can improve symptoms of SIB and AB and ASD. This comes from those highly scrutinized clinical trials that the GED device has never been forced to be held up to. Because nobody else uses it. Because Big Pharma may be big, bad, and greedy, but they're big, bad, and greedy enough to watch their own ass. It is what it is, right? As noted above, Respirado and Apresazole have FDA approval for the treatment of irritability in ASD. So this is pretty short, sweet, and to the point, isn't it? It is showing that currently, with recent trials, the medicine on the market to deal specifically to assist in dealing with aggressive behaviors and irritability have tested well, and the research, the data, and the last few decade or so that these drugs have been on the market back it up, right? Can anybody say there's the same success rate with the GED? Can anybody? So what does it do, kids? Stops the behavior for 5 seconds. As I've said, so does a punch to a face. But I don't let my brother live here rent free so that, when I'm starting to have a moment, he can punch me in the face, right? Nobody's going to do that. So, why are neurotypicals trying to turn such a very obvious, blatant, blind eye to what's going on here? And when anyone tries to dig, why is this the hill that these people want to die on? We're going to go ahead and close on that. Excuse me, we don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. You know the drill, folks. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time this evening. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see y'all in a minute. Bye-bye, everyone.